working as a associate tech lead at Horizontal Digital Jaipur office. Okay, and I am Sitecore certified. Okay, and like I'm working on various Sitecore. Like I worked on various Sitecore versions, and right now working on means I worked on also on like various products of Sitecore like Content Hub, Auto Cloud, Discover Search, Sitecore Search. Okay, and this year I got the chance to work like very much on Sitecore Search. Okay, so like today I will present whatever the issues I faced during the trigger time of the crawlers. Okay, and those were not easy to means fix because there are no direct way to debug the code that we used to write in Sitecore Search to crawl. Okay, as we have in like C# or Next.js or React.js, anything. Okay, so this is my blog post link, and this is my LinkedIn profile link. Okay, I've written several couple of blogs on Sitecore Search, Axiom Cloud, GraphQL as well. Okay, so in Sitecore Search, okay, like there are different type of like sources, right? One of them is API crawler. Okay, and in API crawler we can call any GraphQL query. Okay, which will pull the data from our Sitecore CMS. Okay, and it will return the data in the JSON format, and we can crawl the data. Okay, to be indexed in our Sitecore Search indexes. Okay, so I will go one by one. I will list down around 4 to 5 errors, critical errors that I faced. Okay, so first error is like sometimes what happen, like if you are using the query. Okay, the query works fine of the GraphQL ID. Okay, but it gives the error while we are trying to use that query, GraphQL query in the API crawler. Okay, like it can give a syntax error, although there will be any syntax error or anything, but it will not give the clear message. It will give like invalid character U looking at the beginning of the value. Okay, and in the screenshot, I will also show in the Sitecore Search CHC portal this error. And this is the screenshot of the error. Okay, let me go to the previous slide. Okay, and let me describe this one of the scenario. Like, okay, so this is the GraphQL query. Okay, so here, see, I have used item, okay, as an alias for search, and I'm getting the result as well, like data, items, total results. Okay, so this GraphQL query is working fine. Okay, in any of the like Sitecore ID, GraphQL ID, and it is giving the response. Okay, but when I am trying to use this query here in Sitecore Search, so I've created different sources for different type of errors here. Okay, first let me show you the query. So this is the query. Okay, so you can see I am using item as an alias. Okay, it is not necessary, but in some case we need to use. Okay, so it is giving item, data item total, means the query is giving the result properly. Okay, but when I'm trying to use the same query with, sorry, the API crawler, okay, here in the trigger section we can write the query. So I have used the same query here, and I have placed the alias of for search as an item. Okay, so this will not be accepted by Sitecore Search. Okay, and it will give an error like this. Okay? And in Sitecore Search, to view the detail of an error, suppose I want to view the detail of this error, since this is, I think, not a user-friendly error. Okay, so if I want to view the detail of this error, I will go to inspect. I will have to go to the network tab. Okay, again I will have to click on the error. Okay, so it will trigger a couple of APIs. Okay, in which I can see the error. Okay, so the error message in the response of this API is also this one. Okay, so why this happened, like it does not means it treats it as a syntax error. Okay, because it does not accept any alias Okay, for any of the object in the GraphQL query. Suppose I will remove item. Okay, then this will work as it is, and it will return the response and will crawl the data. I can show. So this is the source I will created using the same query. Okay. See here, the same query is there, but without any alias. So I'm able to crawl it. Okay, and I am able to crawl all the JSON nodes here. Okay. So any question on this type of error?
So like this is
Mhm.
the issue related to areas, but let's say if we have any other issue, any syntactical error, so
You
in
will
that
have the
case,
same error.
same
You
error.
will have the
Okay.
in the trigger. If any syntax error is there in the GraphQL, you'll have the same error. Yeah. Because this error is basically related to any syntax error in the query. Okay. This can
Okay.
also come in the document extractor. I can show later. Okay. So moving to the next error. Yeah.
So
What
like
I
one thing, do we have any log for this error or some details?
no. Till now we do not have, like, we have the log. Okay, we can view the log here. Let me go here. Sorry, I need to go into this source. I need to click on this. Okay, so this is the analytics. We have the log here. It will say like it failed. Okay, but it will not give the exact reason for this one. Okay, like it ran for around 4 minutes, but it failed in last. Okay, but it will not give any particular reason for this one. Okay, only like for some of the errors we can find the user friendly error by going into the network tab and hitting the error message, okay, in the errors. But for some type of error, means we are not getting any user friendly message like this is due to this syntax error or something. Okay, so like if you are not able to debug and fix, then you will have to raise a support ticket for this one to get that checked error.
This is
Sorry.
long process.
Yes. And the next one which I'm going to talk about is, sorry, I will have to start again. I mentioned this in the PowerPoint slide as well. Okay. So the next error is like, suppose we are fetching
Your
any,
screen is not visible.
sorry. I think I stopped sharing.
Yeah,
Visible now?
yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. So the next type of error that I'm going to talk about is the length of the response. Okay. JSON. Okay. Suppose we are crawling, like we are calling any GraphQL and means query. Okay. We are getting the response in JSON format. Okay. Or we are like we have placed any JSON data somewhere like content or anywhere, and we are calling that the public link of that content of asset. Okay. So just to get the data and to crawl the data. Okay. But there is a limitation in Sitecore search, like the response payload should not exceed 10 MB in size. Okay. Because once this will exceed 10 MB in size, okay, it will not crawl and it will give the error like syntax error, unexpected end of JSON input. However, your JSON is correctly formatted. All the things are correct in JSON. But if the size will exceed 10 MB, then it will give this kind of error. Okay. So I can show this one. I have placed a file in content hub and I'm trying to crawl that. One problem is with Sitecore Search, it log out very fast. Again and again you'll have to log in. This second source I have created, okay, to show like large file error. In this I have created one trigger, okay, to fetch the data from this. So I have hosted one file in content hub, and this is the public link of that file. So this has some dummy JSON data which is more than 10 MB in size. So it is taking time to load as well. So this is JSON. Okay. The format is correct. Nothing wrong with the JSON. Only thing is it is more than 10 MB in size. Okay. Now I can crawl this phase as well in Sitecore Search in the API crawler. I can give the URL directly. Then it will fetch the like the data in this file. Since the data is in JSON format, so it will try to crawl that. Okay. So while crawling, it found like it is more than 10 MB in size. Okay. So it will give error like this, unexpected end of JSON input. Okay. So if we'll try to go in the network tab, we'll try to see the error here. Again, it will give the same error. Like it will not tell anywhere like this file is more than 10 MB in size. Okay. So while doing the practical implementation, like in one of my requirement, I got the same error, like the JSON size was huge, okay, more than 10 MB, and we were stuck, like everything worked fine, like the JSON input was correct. Okay. So after digging and raising a Sitecore support ticket, we came to know like the JSON payload, the response payload more than 10 MB is not supported. Okay. So for this, what we did is like we have created a request extractor. Okay. And we have splitted our file in multiple file. Okay. And we have created a single file that had the link of those multiple file, and we have crawled. Okay. So I have written a blog regarding this one. This is my blog link, like how to crawl the data which is more than 10 MB in Sitecore Search. Okay. So any question on this? Am I clear on this?
Yes, I guess we need to go through the blog.
Okay. The next, the error. So I have also documented the same in here. Okay. So the next error which we type get is this one. Again, it logged. Invalid. I like. Okay. So let me go to here. Suppose we are familiar with the entities in Sitecore. Okay. Like entities like database tables. Okay. And it has attributes like fields. Okay. In which we can crawl our data. Okay. Suppose I am going to content any of the entity. Let's say content. Okay. So it will have one field ID. Okay. So this is the, let's say, primary field for this entity. Okay. So its type is string. Okay. And whenever we will create new entity, this will be inherited by default ID. Okay. Suppose we are we have created any type of source like API crawler, web crawler, advanced web crawler, anything. Okay. And to index the data, we need to write our custom code in this document extractor, right? So I've written the code in document extractor to crawl the data. Okay. So one issue while working, I found like we had some JSON input, okay, the JSON response of our client, okay, which had some customized ID of their product, okay, and those IDs were having special characters, okay, like Sitecore Search supports the value in ID, like it can be A to Z in capital or small, or it can be numeric with hyphen and underscore. That's it. Okay, it will not accept any other character than that. So I have placed a special character like dot here. Okay, then what? Then it will throw an error. Okay, the number of index documents should be greater than 0, but it will not show adject error here while the crawling failed. Okay, but for this it gives a user friendly error. Okay. So whenever you are getting any error while crawling the Sitecore search crawlers, okay, just go to the network tab, click on the error. You will have the information here, some information here. See, again, I'm going to errors here. Okay, so it is giving the same message. The number of users should be greater than 0, but it is not showing the reason. Okay, so again in the document there is another call documents. It will show the reason for this. Okay, so it has mentioned like the value in the ID field must pass this regex. So as I mentioned, it is accepting only alphanumeric character along with underscore and hyphen. Apart from this, it will not accept anything in the ID attribute, right? So it should be like clear while pushing any of the value in the ID attribute, like it should pass this regex. Okay, otherwise it will throw an error. Okay, I hope this is clear. So let me move to other type of error.
Yeah. So, like if our field is supposed to have special character as well.
No, then you will have to replace those characters with either underscore or hyphen. Apart from this, it will not support.
Okay.
Because the ID attribute is used to identify the particular document in the JSON collection. Okay. So this needs to be done. Apart from the ID attribute, you can pass any of the special character in any of the attribute. Okay. Like name, title, whatever you create, description. But this ID attributes, let me show here. If I go to entities here, sorry, entities, okay, and I will add it. Okay, I'm trying to add a new entity here. Suppose custom entity. Let me give a name here. Demo suppose. Okay. See, well, I'm trying to create an entity here. Okay, so it will get inherited by the base attribute template. It will have ID. So we cannot change this one. It has to be inherited by the base attribute template, and other templates are available as well, but all of them will have the same, means at least this ID will be present because it is used to identify a particular document in the whole JSON collection, right? So apart from this ID, in any of the attribute that we will create either of string type, okay, so string type will have alphanumeric, special character. Okay, so apart from this ID attribute, any attribute we create like name, title, description, anything that can have the special character, but this ID attribute needs to be passed through this regex. Okay,
Okay. So this is specific to the ID field because it's a kind of you can say an item ID, right?
correct,
Which
used to identify
we
a
have.
particular, means
Mm-hmm.
JSON, means a collection of JSON in the whole document. Okay. And next what I'm going to talk about is, okay, so one more error type can show is, Like suppose we can create many entities here. Suppose content, product, employee, all these are created, and according to our need, we can create as many entities that we want here. Okay, but there is a constant in Sitecore search. Like these are the attributes of this entity, right? Content. These are the attributes of product entities. So initially, the total number of count of these attributes, okay, should be 1500. Okay, if this count will increase, okay, then it will throw an error at the time of crawling the source. Okay, and the error will be like this, something like this. Region limit of total field 1500 has been exceeded. Okay, it will like show an error like I was not able to replicate this one because I have limited entities here. Okay, so it will show an error like the crawling failed or the index job failed. Okay, yes, it will show an error index job failed. Okay, now when we'll go to the source, we'll view the details of that error. We'll get the error in this format. Okay, like total fields 1500 has been exceeded. So I also got this type of error, and how I fixed is like suppose I'm going to any entity, this product. Okay, as I mentioned, like all the custom entity that we create, okay, are being inherited from some base template. Okay, and those base template have some predefined attributes like ID, okay, and this states, okay, and two more, okay, like this is inherited ID states. Okay, we can see here. Suppose let me go to entities. Let me create entity, custom entity. Suppose I'm giving the same name like so I'm using this template base attribute template, so it will be inherited by like these four attributes will be inherited by default: stats, source, ID, and document activeness. Okay, so this states source are of composite type. Okay, this ID is string type, boolean type. Also we have here like integer, array of object, array of string, the common types, but this is something new like composite type. Okay, so what composite type has, so composite type attribute can have other attributes within itself. Okay, so let me show. Suppose I'm going to this product entity. Okay, so this is also custom entity inherited from the base template. Here also I will have this states. Okay, so this is the type of this attribute is composite. So if I'll click on this one, okay, so as I mentioned, the composite attribute type attribute can have inner attributes within itself. So these attributes are also being counted in that 1500 limit. Okay, and these are used to store some statistical data like 90 days views or 90 days click, 30 days views, 7 days, 15 days. Okay, so in our case we did not require these historical data. Okay, so what I did is so I removed all these, okay, from couple of entities so that my total attribute remain less than 1500. Okay, although we can raise the site code support ticket to increase that limit. Okay, but I was able to do that. Okay, because I did not require these attributes inside the composite attributes. I deleted all the attributes here which I was not required. Okay, so I was able to place my like to bring my total number of attributes count less than 1500. Okay, so then I was unblocked and I was able to crawl. But one thing, like if this error will come, like limit of total field 1500 has been exceeded, so then in that case we will not be able to crawl any of the crawler. Suppose this offer sync is using content entity, this is using product entity, this is using employee entity. Okay, although all like each of the crawler will use separate entity, but we will not be able to crawl any of the sources if we exceed the count of attributes more than 1500, right? So this is the error that I got recently. And moving to next one. Okay. Yes. So these were a couple of errors that I got. Okay. And one thing more I want to show, like this error, like job failed due to heartbeat error. Okay. So this usually comes from Sitecore Search side. If something bad is there in their server, okay, anything bad, okay. So this is not due to our mistake. This is used to this means this error comes from the Sitecore Search server side, okay. So if this is coming again means if you try recrawling again, okay, then this error will go. Okay. And one thing that I mentioned, this error, okay. So this was due to the syntax error in trigger, right? So similar, okay. So suppose we are using any document extractor, okay. So this document extractor needs to return this object, okay, at least one object, okay. Suppose if JSON data is present, if I'm getting the proper JSON data, it is returning, okay. If this JSON data is not present, I will have to return blank object here, okay, array here, sorry. So if suppose I have some condition like if this is equal to 1 2 3 or anything, let me show if I have that. Hmm. Suppose I have some condition here, okay. If this item ID is equal to this or any condition here, then only it should return, okay. Now we need to place one else condition of this one because it it is supposed to return anything like either the whole data or the blank array. If I am not returning the blank array here, like if I will have not will if I will have not have the else condition for this if returning the blank array, then I can come across this error in the document extractor as well, the same error. Okay. Yeah, these were a couple of errors that I faced and how I fixed. Apart from this, if you have any question on Sitecore Search, you can ask and let's see if I am able to answer or not. I will try to answer. So any question on this errors and fixing of those errors?
Anybody, like, if you have any questions, so please either ask or maybe you can type that on the chat. Meanwhile, Bhupesh, like as we have time,
Mhm.
so maybe
Mhm.
the one error that we talked about, that is having like result more than 10 MB on which you have
Yes.
wrote blog. So maybe
Uh-huh.
we can just delve into a bit. For that, maybe you can open your blog and just share so
Okay.
that it will be easy for people to get that particular.
Okay. So let me open it here. Or I can,
Yeah, the link was there in your presentation.
yes, I can copy, sorry. Mm, wait, see. So we had this error, okay. Index should be greater than unexpected end of JSON input. So what I did is like as I have shown like that public link, okay, that had a long JSON, okay. So what I did is I created three asset in Content Hub, okay, and I splitted that whole JSON into three parts, okay, so that each part will be less than 10 MB, right? And I've created the public link of all those three assets, okay, the small files, and I created one main JSON file, okay, and I have created the JSON like this, the main node name, then URL, 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 and this URL is the URL of the small files that I have created, the public link of those small files that I have created. Okay, URL, URL, URL. Okay, so this structure is clear.
Yep.
So okay, then after that, I also created the public link of this main file. Okay, then in the trigger, request type trigger, I place the link of the main file that had these URLs. Okay. Then in Sitecore Search, we can create a request extractor. What this does is like whenever a request comes to crawl, like the request came to crawl this file. Okay. And now when we have created a request extractor, it will loop into this file. It will find the URL node here. Okay. So what it will do, this need to be same like URL. Okay. So what it will do, it will pick up the URL, this URL node and the link of this URL node, the value of that URL node, and it will crawl that URL node. Okay. So while crawling, okay, so it okay, I have used the method get and item.url means this URL. Okay. And the request.header. Okay. So suppose I have not added any header here in the trigger, but by default out of the box some headers are added while crawling a particular URL or any of the source that we need to means from which we need to pull our JSON data. Okay. So all the headers will be passed here as well, request.header. Okay. And we have created one object. Okay. URLs. Okay. So this is array of object, okay, of this URL type, what it will have. Okay. Now in this file, we have multiple JSON nodes. Okay. So what it will do, it will hit this URL, it will read all the JSON node of this one. Okay. And when it will run for the second time, it will hit the second URL. It will read all the JSON nodes for this. Similarly, it will hit the third URL. It will read all the JSON nodes for this. So we have created three objects here. Okay. Each having JSON response of all these three URLs. Okay. And these JSON response are less than 10 MB. Okay. Now, after request extractor, document extractor is being called. Okay. So we have created an object here, URL. Okay. So this will automatically be passed to the document extractor in the response. Okay. Means the output of this request extractor is the response for this document extractor. Okay. So in the document extractor, I am reading the response here. Okay. So what will be the response? Response will be three objects of this URL. Okay. And it will be read one by one. Okay. So I'm running a for loop here. So it will first read the JSON of this link, first link, and it will crawl. Since this is less than 10 MB in size, so it will be crawled easily. Okay. Now after this one first loop is over, it will again go to the next URL object in this for each loop, and it will crawl the second link here, right? So if the file like JSON response payload is more than 10 MB in size, okay, we can split the size into multiple chunks and we can crawl one by one using request extractor. Okay. This request extractor can be also be used to crawl like sitemap. Suppose we have an index sitemap. Okay. Suppose we have multilingual website. Okay. We have different sitemap URL like EN will be different, sitemap URL, Arabic will be different, French will be different. Okay. So we have a, suppose we do not have a index sitemap file. Okay. That has multiple URLs. Okay. We have separate URL, then we can create a JSON like this. Okay. And we can crawl separate URLs in a single Sitecore source using this request extractor and the document extractor. So means request extractor is basically used to pass data to document extractor. Is this, I hope this is clear.
Yes, thanks, Bhupesh. One question, like here you mentioned
Hmm.
that you split those 10 MB data into three different files, right? So
Hmm.
that time you know that this file is getting bigger. But sometimes, let's say we are fetching some dynamic data and we don't know that actual result is surpasses the maximum
Uh-huh.
limit.
So yes, so you will get the some error, like okay, you will have some error here. Okay, so these are the tricks. Suppose if you get this error, so it will throw error like
Mhm.
this, unexpected end of JSON input. Okay, so you can guess, okay, I'm getting this error. Then I need to go to check the JSON response. Sorry, the I guess the response payload size. Okay, if this is more than 10 MB, then we can go with this approach. Okay, so this is just one kind of fix for this error. If suppose if your JSON is not in proper structure and it is less than 10 MB in size, then something is wrong in your JSON input. Suppose I have the response from GraphQL. So this JSON is properly formatted, okay? But this response can grow to more than 10 MB in size, and when I will try to crawl, I can get this error, okay? So I can guess from this error, okay, I can guess from this error, okay, so this can be the reason for this error. So this is one of the reason for this error, okay?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, and one more thing, like Sitecore support also supports PDF crawling, okay, like we can crawl the PDF, okay. So by default, out of the box size for the PDF is also 10 MB, right? And, and suppose you want to crawl the PDF that is more than 10 MB in size, then you need to raise a Sitecore support ticket to increase the size of the PDF, means the size to be crawled for the PDF, and it will be based on source. Like suppose I'm using, refresh it again. Suppose I am using this crawler to crawl a PDF file, okay? And suppose the crawling failed because the size of the PDF is more than 10 MB, okay? Then you will have to raise a support ticket mentioning this source ID, okay? And the domain, this domain, okay? So like increase the size of the response JSON for this source, which is crawling a PDF to more than this size, okay? But the threshold that Sitecore mentioned in our case, okay, we had the same issue while crawling the PDF, but the threshold that Sitecore mentioned is 35 MB. Okay, they mentioned like they cannot increase more than 35 MB because of their some internal server issue, like it will be slow or something, okay? So in that case we need to mention this particular source ID, okay? Because it is not like they will increase the size to be crawled, like the PDF to be crawled is like more than 10 MB. Okay. So if suppose I'm crawling one PDF through this source, I'm crawling a separate PDF through this source. Okay. Both of them failed and I have raised that support ticket, then they will fix according to the source ID. If they will allow the size to be crawled more than 10 MB for a PDF, okay, so it will be based on source. Suppose they have set on this source, okay, more than 10, like the PDF size to be crawled will be more than 10 MB, then this will be run successfully, but the next one will fail. And because the size to be crawled for a PDF, like for more than 10 MB PDF is based on source. So always they will apply the size on the source ID, not for the whole domain, right? Am I clear?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's it from my side. Any